Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forged Alliance Forever. Today, I have a 2v2 ladder match here on the map NDERA. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting with Team 1, also known as the Blue Team in the Northeast, ending with Team 2, also known as the Red Team in the Southwest. Starting up with Team 1's Northern player, we have in Stitch Blue, Arima as an Aeon for this match. He is a 1463 rating, and to his east, sharing his beach, it is Skyiva. I think it's Skyiva. Going as a UEF for this match here, he is a 1378 rating. So for Team 1 side of the map, they have a UEF and an Aeon, which means they have no Cybran and no Seraphim Tech. On the southern side here for Team 2, starting off with the southern player, we have in Ribried's Wiresek as a UEF. He is a 1599 rated player, the highest rated player on Team 2 and in the game overall. And last but not least, in the west is the Cybran player of Terminator 619. He's playing as a Cybran as a 1418 rating. So for Team 2 side of the map here, they have a UEF and a Cybran, but they do not have a Seraphim or a UEF, which means for the entirety of this game, there are no Seraphim players. Apologies to those who love to arrive late but love to make grand entrances. Hopefully you will enjoy the game nonetheless. And of course, as a reminder, Team 2 doesn't have Aeon and Seraphim Tech. Team 1 also doesn't have Seraphim Tech, but they also don't have Cybrans as well. Comments about, can you fix the lag? Playable, talking about there's just some connection issues, I guess, between some of these players. But in terms of the reclaim on the map, let's take a look at the totals. Currently sitting at 18,000 mass, and reclaim for 4 players is a little bit over 4,000 mass. And most of it is dotted on our teams' islands, or main island, and a couple of the smaller islands. But there is, a couple hundreds or so in the middle. I have casted this map, but it has been a very, very long time. I'd say probably, 200, maybe 300 casts, maybe. I don't remember the exact number. All I just remember is there was a ton of torpedoes in the thumbnail. But we do see there's a couple of mexes here in the middle of the map, as well as a couple of civilian structures. There are no PD or AA emplacements, so our players don't have to worry about that. But there are a couple of free radar systems. Maybe they'll reclaim them. Maybe they'll keep them. We'll have to see and determine if they do so or not. Besides that, the mechs count for both of our teams, not really super high. There's a quad mechs island down here in the south. There's also a couple of twin mechs here on the beach, on these little sandbars, whatever you'd call it. Maybe they're sandbars. Maybe that's what they're called. And then there's just a twin mechs here in front of as well. But of course, given the fact that there is a lot of water, this is going to be a Navy map, just like the map, the game a couple of days ago, maybe it was a week ago, from the last ladder match. We do see that, of course, engineers on board a transport trying to drop onto this eastern edge of the map here, trying to aggressively place some factories to spam on the eastern side. We possibly see, I was going to say possibly a similar attempt, but that's actually from Team 2. We do see engineers actually outbound from Arima going to drop over here to the north as well. Factories already spammed up, both in the land tech and in the naval tech. So it looks like both of these want to get established that way. It looks like the spam is outbound from Arima, trying to kick off their invaders. Of course, there are some frigates being established, will make that a little bit more difficult to hold off. A couple of torp launching subs inbound here from Skyiva. I'm still probably going to say his name incorrectly. Going and after these little naval factories here in the middle of Team 2's lineup. There are more about to be established here shortly, but it looks like they will be dealt with maybe in a little bit of time. We do see some interceptors here in the east. Radar system online. Going to cut down the cost next to the adjacency with that hydrocarbon. One comm is in the middle here for Team 1. It is Arima. We haven't seen any sort of movement from Team 2's commanders towards the middle, at least. But there is, of course, a ton of naval factories being spammed up by Wiresek, acting as both cannon fodder and bullet sponges and spam facilities. Now, all three things. We do see, again, a little bit of a focus for Team 1, on, at least at Skyiva, on the subs. We don't see that realistically from Wiresek yet. He's going primarily frigates, which in a naval battle at T1, you definitely want some subs, because frigates cannot fight back against torpedoes, either in defense capabilities or in offensive capabilities. So really, you need those subs online. The western side of things, it's mainly just frigates here from Skyeva. He has T2 Navy online, but he's actually landed, air quotes, some Auroras, just used the hover tech capability on board to get his units onto the western edge of the map. Exactly what is happening in the east here, except those units had to be obviously transported and built over there. We do see that T2 Air is online, going for a transport, and it looks like only Team 1 has a T2 Navy online. I feel like that's probably a little bit... I mean, there's T2 Navy online here for Zwarzek as well, but I feel like that's a little bit weird that we don't see everybody in the map going for T2 Navy, just because of the fact that, I mean, it's a very heavy Navy map. Like, you need naval tech online sooner rather than later. T2 land over here to the southern side of the map here for Zwarzek. Looks like he's going for more engineers. He did pump out, it looked like a Riptide earlier, but it got destroyed. But look at this huge pressure inbound from Skyeva. And there isn't a faction advantage one way or the other. It is a UEF versus a UEF. No subs means you cannot fight back against the subs from Team 1. And we do see he is going for those destroyers that do have torpedo defense and torpedoes on board. So he can defend against that. But I feel like, not necessarily it's too late, but it does put him at a huge disadvantage. We do see that blue team has now grabbed the middle of the map here. Nice little tiny little pond in the middle of it as well. And, of course, a mech count going up for them just because they have the middle of the map. I'm surprised that Team 2 hasn't tried to grab anything over here. It does look like they're going to drop some engineers off. They are Sparkies, though, which are offensive capable engineers. I think they're the only one in the game that exist like that, I think. I might... yeah, I think they are the only ones. We do see that Skyeva building some land facilities, trying to keep them online, but unfortunately... those Lobos do a lot of damage to structures, so he's going to be kind of pushed back in that regard. Large group of frigates bypass the main fleet here for him, going after probably the naval facilities, but looks like they haven't been given orders to go after anything just as of yet. Of course, there are some torp launchers being built as quickly as possible, but those engineers are dealt with. And we do see that T2 Navy, of course, is online over here for Arima, and he's already produced a couple of destroyers. There's also some destroyers in this fleet as well. All of those naval units fall back, which, yeah, you're able to group up a lot better because of that. I don't think you need to give up that much position. We do see now a couple of subs outbound from Zwarzek, and that destroyer is pushing forward. I don't think it should push alone, given the fact that it's only one so far. It needs to get some supporting units nearby. Large, again, amount of Team 1 units outbound from Terminator, trying to push back the T2 fleet that is emerging. And now we see all of these units from Skyeva actually vacating their post and shifting westward. They're going to all push this western side. It does leave Team 1 Skyeva open for naval engagements, and if Team 2 really wanted to, they could pressure this a lot more. We do see that T2 Navy is almost done, so we could see some more Governors and some more of the Valiant class destroyers online here shortly. But it looks like Skyeva is focused a little bit more on the land side of things. This constant raiding, constant spamming up of Lobos is causing them a lot of heartache. You see just pillars being ripped apart because they're not moving. They're just holding position. That's really going to hurt his land army over there. You can see, look at all this pressure. These units are actually back from Skyeva. Maybe he wanted to lure in Zwarzek's units. Maybe he just had a move order and then went, oh, no, I need to have them over there and have them switch back. T2 Navy now online for Terminator, and that T2 facility for Skyeva is online as well. T2 Air is online for Team 1. We did see that Team 2 also has T2 Air. No T3 Air as of yet. It is a ladder match. T3 Air is not necessarily an afterthought, but it's definitely pushed back, especially due to the fact that there's so much water here. I mean, air is important, land is important, Navy is important, but I feel like Navy is the most important, and then air, and then land. But since there's been a lot of land engagements over here, Team 1 and Team 2 have been focused on that probably a little bit more than normal. But it does look like Terminator has now pushed back his opponent of Arima in the land side of things, at least on the western edge. Torpedo going to be built on that commander. The only one in the game that can do that. He's going to use that comic recipe. He already is in the yellow, though. He probably should go for a nano upgrade to be able to survive a little bit more damage so we can wrap up at least a little bit quicker. We do see a nice little bulwark shield online, couple of destroyers. No cruisers as of yet. Team 2 does have a cruiser in their fleet, one right there. And I think that's the only one so far. Cruisers, of course, the UAF and the Seraphim, they are really great. Those missiles are just very annoying to deal with. Of course, if you have a Cybran with Loyalists, you can easily counter them with the redirect systems on board said Loyalists, but now see that used for TMD a lot. It is probably, if you would couple that with Volcanoes, probably the most effective way to deal with missiles in general, but specifically with cruisers because they just pump out so many missiles. It's like the Spearhead, but on steroids. They just don't stop. It's like an infinite missile glitch or something where you just constantly spam those out. We do see some bulwark shields being established by Zwarzak in the south. It is starting to get about 21 minutes in this game. Team 1 has both of their players remaining. Team 2 also has both their players remaining. No one has died before 20 minutes. Shout out to everybody for not dying this early in the game. Team 1 sitting at 315 mass income. Team 2 at 290 or so. So it's not that much in favor of Team 1. It is a little bit, but it's not a huge discrepancy. But we'll see if that does materialize to a better or worse situation for one team or the other. But again, let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win this game. And of course, if you haven't done so already, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. And again, thank you so very much for watching to this point in the video. This match does go on for a little bit over an hour, so we got plenty of time to see lots of naval units smash one another to bits. We do see in the west destroyers pumping out fire against these Beacon Exodus class destroyers. The Beacon class are the frigates. We do see that Terminator has the torpedo online, but you can't fire it when you're on land, so you got to get back into the water to fire it. We do see that he's getting a little bit of ground with some torpedo bombers also assisting him as well. There are torp defenses online, those destroyers, but they can only deal with so much damage or so many torpedoes per second. We do see more and more destroyers, more and more cruisers coming online for Team 2. We only see one bulwark shield, and then we see another bulwark shield. Speaking of which, I would love to see somebody try to blitz down T3 Navy, at least one of the UEF players, because of the Neptune class. They are so good battle cruisers. They are amazing in this game, and they would rip through either one of these fleets very, very quickly. Still T2 on the brain here for Zwarzak. Still T2 on the brain here for Skyiva. And again, we see a lot of AA forming here in the northern pond, trying to deal with all of these torpedo bombers, going after all of those destroyers. And some of those destroyers are badly beaten. They don't have a lot of hit points remaining. There's a large wave of them inbound, though. It does look like maybe he was going to send them to the east and then thought better of it and then sent them back to the west is what it looks like. Because there was, what, probably 15 or so? 16. There's 16 now online. So had that one not built, I would have had the exact number. Well, we have counter torpedo bombers online here for Team 1's Arima doing, again, the exact same thing against his opponent. We do see, again, Terminator going for some AA, some tracer turrets. He does have the torpedo online and goes, probably should retreat. There are a lot of frigates trying to body block for those destroyers. The torpedo on board that comm is actually decently powerful. It's not no weak T1 sub. I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's probably equivalent to maybe a T2 sub-killer, sub-hunter. I think it doesn't output as many torpedoes as those do, but I think the damage on the torpedo is probably roughly the same, I think, because it can blitz down units decently quick. I'd say T2, it would struggle a little bit, but it's definitely designed for that kind of T1, T2 stage of combat. Anything beyond that, that comm will die very quickly just because, battleships have a lot of HP, and the ACU T3 subs from the Seraphim wipe them out pretty quickly. That sort of thing. It's really designed for the early to mid naval game. Anything beyond that, it's not worth it. We do see just tons and tons and tons of destroyers online for Skyiva pushing back Team 2 Zwarzak. Is he going? Nope, he's not going for T3 yet. We don't see any effort to go for T3 yet for any. Okay, scratch that. Of course, I have to say something and then I'm immediately proven wrong. Arima does have T3 on the brain and is now upgrading to that. We do see a couple of some Salems walking onto land, going after these T2 mexes up here to the north, just trying to go after Team 1's Eco. We do see the discrepancy now is in favor of Team 2 at 400 mass a second. Team 1 at 420, so the shift in lead has essentially inverted, where Team 1 was in the lead and now Team 2 is in the lead. But, of course, there's a lot of firepower in the Navy here to the north. Team 2's got to be very careful. There is a decent amount of hovertech units also online for Arima. He is starting to go after them, but it's not looking good. We do see actually a T2 naval headquarters, sorry, T2 land headquarters up here producing said blazes. And these destroyers do have some angles on that facility, but it is difficult just because of the high arc on that plateau up there. Cliffside? I'd say it's more of a cliffside. Yeah, it's not a plateau. It's more of a cliff. And the facility stays online, so Arima's going to like that. We do see, again, the land side of things on the east. Essentially, it's just kind of a stalemate here. Couple of broadswords now online for Team 2's Zwirerzak, so he has T3 air online. Team 1, yep, you have T3 air online as well. Looks like he just did it, and the T3 naval headquarters is done, going for the, of course, the Omen class battleships. It is a not good omen for Team 2. Oh, no, they are going for T3 naval headquarters as well. Still bulwarks and T2 units on the brain here for Zwirerzak. Looks like T3 might be started soon with all of these engineers. I feel like T3 Navy could be spammed up very quickly. Team 2 jumping in the mass leaderboards, 560 versus 430. Team 2 outputting tons of mass. We do see those T3 mixes dotting around the map, and engineers assisting with whatever sort of assistance they can in terms of either reclaim. There's a lot of trees down here. We're just upgrading those mixes as well. I will soon see all of the galaxies and all of the omens over here to the west. Just tons and tons of destroyers over here. I would love to see a couple of cruisers for either player in this mix, but there is so many destroyers here for Team 1. There's just not really that much. Okay, there are some cruisers back here, to be fair, but they're not engaging. They're back here. If these were the UEF, that's perfect, because those missiles are great for large fleets, because it's really hard to move. We do see units just being ripped apart bit by bit on both sides. The eastern side of things, pretty well not really changed for the most part. Couple of gunships, though, gonna kind of wreak some havoc on his eco. T3 has not been started as of yet, but looks like T3 mexes are going down. That's not gonna feel good. This T2 mex is about to upgrade to T3. That'd be a great grab, essentially preventing the upgrade. But of course, they want the T3 mex. You could easily deny that and then go for anything else. Will he notice? I don't think so. It does upgrade to T3, and the T1AA, what are these called? The railguns are online. That's another T3 mex that's going to go down. So that's 27 mass, 54 mass. That's technically 7 or so mass. So 60, and then another, call it 80 to 90 mass per second. That Skaiva is probably going to lose. There are some ASFs. They're not intercepting, which is definitely unfortunate. There are some cruisers in the water over here sniping at these gunships, but the damage, the damage not necessarily is completely done, but Skaiva drops below 100 mass per second. Team 2 now in the lead at 250 plus mass per second. There is a lot of pressure now inbound from Arima, pumping out those Omen class battleships. Well, the first one is about to be destroyed, and there it goes, but there's still a lot of T2 and T1 support. And Terminator is still online. He does have T2 Engineering Suite, so a couple additional 1,000 hit points on board that commander. Never hurt anybody. And we'll keep him alive a little bit longer. T2 still coming online here for Zwirerzak. No T3 as of yet. I mean, it would be perfect for Team 1 to go for T3 at this point. Pump out those battle cruisers. Force back to land quite heavily. And, of course, the mainly T2 and T1 fleet. It looks like those gunships and other units have been dealt with for the time being. 32 minutes on the clock here. Team 1 sitting at 400 mass per second. Team 2, 700 mass per second and climbing. Of course, now we're going to see probably T2 mexes being ringed over here. T3 mexes being upgraded all along the southern ends. There are actually a couple of T2 mexes that should be upgraded to T3 because they are in the back line. But both of these teammates on Team 2, both Zwirerzak and Terminator, are sitting at about roughly the same amount of eco, which, I mean, they've done a very good job of splitting everything in half for the most part. We do see a couple of blazes over here just rampaging around, going after whatever T2 mexes they can. Some of them actually upgrading the T3, which they should be ringed before that, but, you know, the APM and all of that. is kind of a pain. But you can see, look at this push inbound here from Arima. We saw that, Terminator have a couple of Galaxy class online, couple being 1, soon to have 2. But with 2 Omens online, Arima is pumping those out very, very quickly here. Look at this. There's 3 of them over here. And that is a bad omen for Team 2. I mean, we know what their mass incomes are. They don't, at least in terms of comparatively with the other team. But when you're producing almost double the mass as your opponent, and your opponent is just pumping out battleships, probably should start either doing the same or countering it very quickly. We do see that it is getting some distance on this, but most of the support fleet is gone. The Galaxy is going to kill an Omen and then die, but there should be another Galaxy coming online here very, very shortly. But those 3 battleships, looks like 2 of them have actually been transferred over to Skyiva, because he's going, he's really being pushed back here on this eastern side. He is holding, but with the assistance of that 1 battleship, actually 2 battleships, that will be enough. Team 2's Zwarzek does go for the T3 Naval Headquarters and skips the Neptune and goes straight for the Summit. The Summit is a really good battleship, I will admit that, but not going for the battlecruiser, for shame. For shame, Zwarzek. You are UEF. That is such a good unit, and it would deal with a lot of this. Yeah, it's not super great at the range against the battleship, but it can rip apart T2, T1 units very, very quickly. We do see a couple of destroyers pushing back the Omen. There's another Omen inbound, lots of spam facilities for engineers. Another Omen's online, another Omen's online. Man, he is just pumping those things out. How many engineers does he have just assisting this? Not those ones up there. He has currently 136 engineers just spamming out those Omens. And he's only sitting on 2 main facilities. The other ones, they're pumping out some units, but these are his priority ones, his number 1 and number 2. We do see the land side of things on the eastern side for Zwarzek is going decently well. He's continuing to push. It pulls a lot of the attention away from the Navy. It allows Zwarzek to build up more and more units, getting a lot of facilities online at the same time. Those distribution orders proving very, very useful for him. But look at this pressure from the west. Team 2's Terminator is suffering, being bombarded by beacons, by Omens, by... Are there any Exodus in here? No, it's just destroyer. Oh, sorry, it's just battleships. No destroyers, very interestingly. We do see that the land side of things has now shifted in Team 1's favor on the western side of things. Again, essentially what is happening on the eastern side. Look at all of this spam outbound from Zwarzek. He's really putting a huge amount of pressure. Essentially, Team 1's goal was to crack the western side. Team 2's goal is to crack the eastern side as fast as possible. Terminator is still pumping out those missiles. Luckily for him, there aren't any torpedoes on board these Omens or even these beacons, which means he's perfectly fine just throwing out damage as much as possible. He doesn't really have to worry about anything. If there were Exodus class in here, he would start to worry, but he's perfectly fine. There are no missiles or no torps on board. This one's about to go down. There's 2 Galaxies now online. There's actually a Summit that's been diverted from the east to the west to assist with this. Another Summit is online, and it's actually going over here. I love to see that teamwork again from both of these teams, trying to shore up defenses on the side that is starting to struggle. We do see, again, 4 Omens online. This fleet is going to be forced back. There's no battleships in this. It is purely one-sided in that regard. It does, of course, alleviate a lot of pressure, though. The Omens are probably going to go for the T3 Naval Headquarters. That Galaxy is about to get ripped apart. Terminator is still pumping out torpedoes. Again, now you can see the, not necessarily disadvantage, but the use of the torpedo isn't as effective at this stage in the game as it is earlier on. And this Omen is about to go down. The facility is dropping into the yellow. Team 2 desperately does not want to lose that. And another Galaxy finishes at the perfect moment, but that facility is dead. One more shot. There it goes. The T3 Naval Headquarters has been sniped by those Omens. Definitely worth the price tag of all of them being destroyed. And now, of course, it gave a lot of time for Arima to push, not only in the naval department, but also on the land side. And really, Team 2 is not prepared for it in any way. And look at all of this pressure. Mechs is being taken offline very quickly. Team 2 sitting at 1.1k mass income. Team 1 at 600. Still not double the mass income, but still a huge discrepancy. And that's partly come to the fact that Skiva is just really suffering in the eco department at only 175. And Terminator is losing a lot of mass, of course. T3 mexes have been taken offline. And now we can see him having to divert a lot of attention to deal with this. Gunship's coming online as well. There's no flak. Oh, no, there's a couple of flak units in there. Not that many, but there is a few. And those will help try to scare away those Borad swords. I highly doubt it, but they could at least help at a minimum. Do see those torpedo bombers inbound now, dealt with those Omens going after these ones to the east. What are they targeting? Looks like they went directly after the Omen and going for the destroyers, actually. There's a couple of cruisers in there for Skiva. Those are what those torpedoes should be going after, but they're targeting the destroyers first. There are now 3 summits now moving into the east. And we do see the Neptune-class battleship. He heard me from the ether, or dark ether, depending on your version of the ether, I guess, or what version of the zombies you like. Anyway, we do see that this unit can provide a lot of utility. At this point, actually, I feel like these Neptunes should be diverted over to the west. There's a lot of frigates online. There's one Omen. If the battlecruiser can get in range, that would be very beneficial here. And those lasers on board those Neptunes would rip apart all of those beacons very, very quickly. ASF fight does not occur. I don't think we've really seen a major air fight. 41 minutes on the clock here. Team 1 sitting at 650 mass income. Team 2 at 850. They have dropped significantly because of all of these mexes for Terminator just being taken offline. You can just see how much mass was being generated by just a few mexes. It makes a huge difference. I mean, that's 54, that's 100, that's, probably another 150, and then another. So like 200 or so mass was produced at a minimum on that western side. Again, that's rough estimates. I'm not doing the exact math in my head because I'm focused on other things. And I just realized I've been running the game at +1 the entire time. So roughly the recording says about 25, 27 minutes. And it's currently 41 minutes. So it's going to be a quote-unquote shorter video in terms of the actual length of it. But, of course, the match is a different beast altogether. Then, of course, that also doesn't come into play of how long our players played the match for. Because just because it says 41 minutes or 42 minutes does not mean it's actually been 42 minutes. Is usually longer than that. ASF fight does occur on Team 2's side of the map. Looks like Team 1's Arima will possibly win that fight. It's going to be close. It's really going to be a null and void situation for both teams. And yeah, Team 1 will win that fight, probably with maybe 13 ASFs remaining. Okay, well, you can't add these 6, so 15. I was close. Do see that, and Team 2 constantly being bombarded over here. The issue now is that both Zwarzak is being pushed back and Terminator. There's really no relief that can be added one way or the other in terms of sending units over like we've seen done for both teams. And it looks like the Navy has now kind of affected the land game here for Zwarzak. There's not as much momentum going for him. It's just stagnated. Of course, Mex's taken offline definitely hurts and staying offline. But the thing is, T3 Navy is online, and he went straight for the Neptune and is now going to be very, very happy with that choice. Of course, there's already one online. He has, technically already has 4 battleships, to be fair, from his teammate of Arima, so technically he doesn't have to build them for a while. Looks like he went for another facility. He's just pumping those things out. Dang. He is not going to let that Omen pressure go. He has 5 of them over here, technically 4 of them over here, unless one died. We have 3 more, 4 more inbound. This is a lot. Again, it's a bad omen for Team 2. And even considering the fact that Team 2 is still producing more mass than Arima, he's throwing everything in the kitchen sink, primarily at those battleships, but also, he has some ASFs, and I saw a couple gunships running around. So it's not completely Navy, but what is Team 2 building with all of that well, okay, a massive air grid is definitely useful, of course. You went for... No, it looked like artillery for a second, but it is not. And okay, this is one of those instances where I do agree with the fact of having a secondary T3 air facility headquarters is nice. Yeah, you put it in the middle of the air grid, but there's also a separate one just in case. That's as much of a backup as you need. Anything else is not necessarily excessive, but it's not needed. We do see in the western side here, gunships going to help deal with the land pressure, and maybe we'll see them being thrown at the Navy. We don't see a lot of cruisers online for either team, so air would be very beneficial now. And this is where air can play a huge role. Pumping out torpedo bombers constantly would be a great benefit. We see a little bit of pushback here from Zwierzak. One of those Omens has gone down. The Neptune's still online, though. Again, the Neptune suffers from not having the range that the Summit has, but the Neptune is such a good unit for its DPS. So very good. And it has dual laser cannons. Who can't love lasers? Everybody loves lasers. ASF's moving into position on the western side here. Looks like they're going to go straight for the gunships. The gunship's going to get wiped out. They're sitting on the ground. They're helpless. They have to take off. They do take off, but unfortunately the AA weaponry is not great. The Restorers, of course, way better at doing that. And there go the ASFs moving in. It looks like it was a trap here by Zwierzak. Air Forces get a huge engagement, and that is going to be a win. More and more ASFs thrown in this mix. Team 2 wins the air fight handedly. There's no possible escape for those ASFs for Arima, because either he flees and they're wiped out, or they fight and they kill off some ASFs. And yeah, look at that. Look at how many were killed off. There's probably 40 or so, and now there's only a handful. And now we see T2 Torp Bombers being spammed out by Terminator. We do see those units inbound from Arima getting very close to that T3 Naval Headquarters once again. But look at the spam facilities. Look at them. Look at all of the nonsense that is the 15 T1 spam facilities. And then we have 3 of the T3 variety. And then, of course, the headquarters and the T2 one as well. But there's so many Omens. Terminator is still alive, still kicking, still pumping out torpedoes. Still think he should go for Nano just in case. In the east, I keep hearing explosions. I keep thinking it's Commander. It's not a Commander. I don't even think there's any SACUs online as of yet for anybody. I see a lot of, I hear a lot of buzzkills firing off their anti-tactical missile barrages. We do see that the gunships have come to make a statement here saying, no, you're not going to repeat what you did last time. The headquarters will be protected. But look at this. 1 Galaxy versus 4 Omens. That Galaxy is going to be ripped apart. Those broadswords need to work very, very quickly. Just target everything. We have an AA creep kind of sort of going on here for Arima. Look at all these T1 AA facilities trying to help out, take out these torpedo bombers and, of course, the gunships if they do come in range. T3 land headquarters, T3 naval headquarters, if I can speak correctly, is being targeted once again. Another Omen comes offline. There are 2 more over here, and another one inbound. It's not looking good for that headquarters. It drops into the the low yellows and the red. A couple more shots. There goes the T3 headquarters. Is taken off again, and Terminator is just being pummeled this game. There are now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 summits, and I do feel like some of these summits should go over here and assist. Yeah, the Omens are pretty much been dealt with, but losing the T3 Naval Headquarters is vital for Team 1 to be ahead in the battleship department. No efforts to go for any sort of artillery or nukes or game enders or that sort of thing. I think our players are going to be primarily... What is up with that? Don't know what that's about. What's up with not going for that? I mean, usually at this point, 47 minutes, somebody would have thought of going for a nuke. There is an SMD, and there is a bug. Oh, that's another thing. No naval experimentals as of yet. We have 3 of the 4 players who can build naval experimentals, that being the Tempest class battleship, which is essentially just the donut in the water. That's essentially what it is, with a very long-range cannon. And the Atlantis. Why don't we see either of those? I mean, 2 UEF, 1 Aeon, why not? Why not? Was there a talked about agreement beforehand of no building experimentals besides, or no naval experimentals, I guess? I mean, this one's being built by Terminator. And Team 2 does have air control, so it is warranted to go for the air experimental. But, I don't know, again, like I said, every time a bug comes up, I'm not a fan of the bug. The bug is fine. I'm just not a fan of it. Maybe that'll be one of my challenges for the Siren campaign, is I have to use the bug in some sort of way. Maybe I'll do that for the last mission for Black Zone. Or maybe I'll just give everybody a vote on what they want me to see me do. Essentially what happened last time, which, to be fair, when I put that community post on the channel that, hey, just use all nukes, I knew the majority was going to be nukes. I just knew it because I say kaboom all the time. I love it when nukes go off. It's great. I love to see them. I love to use them. I love to talk about them. So once I did that, I was like, nah, people are going to pick the nukes. I just know they are. Here are the Neptunes blitzing down those summits with the the Omen assistance. This Omen's still not dead, and it can output, again, 100% of its damage at 1 HP. And they are being ripped apart. We do see a couple of frigates getting in the mix. No subs here for Team 1 or Team 2 as of yet. I don't know what happened, but no one's producing any sub-hunters or sub-killers, any sort of thing. It's just straight frigates, destroyers, battleships, battle cruisers, and a couple of cruisers. That's it. Very weird. It's a very interesting Navy game for sure. Air fight over the top here of this engagement. Team 2, did they lose the air fight? Looks like they lost the air fight. I don't know what happened, but Team 2 was definitely in the air control department, and now Team 1 is in the air control department. 49 minutes, 38 seconds. Team 2 builds the first experimental of the game. It is a bug, and now they don't have air control, so it's not as useful. Lots of cruisers being spammed up in the eastern side here for Skyiva. Not Skyiva. Again, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Please let me know down in the comments if anybody knows how to pronounce his name. I don't, and I'm probably butchering it pretty much every time I say it. We do see some Perseus outbound here from him, though, so they are pushing back the land side of things very well. We also see some other Perseus online for Zwarzek, which very interesting development is happening over here. Just, you know, T3 units, T1 units, T2 units, just all of the units being thrown together on this eastern side. Again, it does divert some of Skyiva's, eco, his attention, his APM, all of that to this land engagement. But he's doing very well now. You can see the map. Team 1 owns pretty much the entire northern half of the map, and a little bit, of course, peeking into the south. Team 2, I mean, they're being bombarded. This position here for Arima is in technically Team 2's territory. Bug going in, but there's a lot of cruisers now just holding position. We do see the ASFs are inbound, and that bug is dead. And even if it tried to make it back home, it would not survive. Those ASFs will die to secure its destruction. ASFs do engage, and do they make it? Not really. Team 1's ASFs get out just barely. Oh, are they? Are they gonna? Oh, they're gonna go for it. Team 2 will lose this air fight. Team 1 has more ASFs. That is not going to look good here for Team 2's longevity in this game. 51 minutes on the clock here, and the tide is turning. The eastern side is collapsing. The western side is collapsing. It is not looking good. Team 2 going for an artillery. Now, the question is this a 20 by 20? What is the range on this thing? Oh, that is not good. The artillery for Team 2 is not in range of anything vital. The air grid is not able to be targeted. The comm is not able to be targeted. Nothing on Team 1's, realistically, like, infrastructure side of things. It cannot be targeted. Out of range, question mark, says Terminator. And it looks like that might be the case. And he's probably going to control K. Not control K, he's going to reclaim it. We do see now the T3 naval headquarters is all the way over here. So now Team 1's Arima has to really push all the way through to get to that headquarters once again. Third time's the charm kind of thing. Gonna get a nice view on the naval side of things. Tons of Omens. Nuke is actually outbound, so scratch what I said about not using nukes. Who has the nuke? Team 2's Ace has the nuke. There's no SMD coverage. What did it go for? It went for the air grid. So while Team 1 has air control, possibly probably air dominance at this point, that is not going to feel good. Luckily, Arima's not near anything vital. So he wasn't the one targeted, of course, because this was targeted. But there goes the nuke. Going to be a huge cascade as well. Kaboom! Kills off everything except a couple of T3 mexes. But that is a huge grab here by that Ace. Of course, that alleviates a lot of pressure, but that pressure isn't going to be relieved, at least seen to be relieved, for a while. You can see the eco side of things. The power is, to be fair, it's barely negative. It's not as bad. It is going down a little bit, but he's trying to balance it right now, trying to build some T3 P-gens. We do see a ton of gunships on the eastern side here. It looks like they have been seen by Team 1. They are being intercepted, and unfortunately, even if they weren't, I don't really think they get a lot of value out of them. biplane will see the ASFs. Looks like they were going. I don't know what they were going for, but there's nothing. It makes me think they were going for the T3 mexes in the back. But those gunships do flee, and the ASFs spread to try to intercept those gunships. You can see they do catch them. At least they see him, and I'm assuming he's just going to let him go. No, he sees him. He's going to intercept, and that's going to be a destruction, a total annihilation of those units. In the western side of things, it is not looking good. Galaxy's in the middle of some Omens, and those Omens are ripping apart anything and everything Terminator owns. Still no torpedo-capable units over here from Arima. Very interesting. Again, I don't understand why there's no subs. No one is using subs. Why? Why is no one using subs? I mean, they're using destroyers, but even over here, no one's using destroyers. So it's just frigates and cruisers and whatnot. Terminator control Ks. He's like, I'm done. I've been bombarded multiple times now. And that will be the first departure of the game in this 2v2 4-player game at 53, almost 54 minutes. And it is now officially a 2v1 with Zawirazak now under control of everything. That was a very delayed explosion, I might add. We saw that message for a while before the comm actually exploded. Skaiva over here hanging out. And then, of course, we have Arima all alone in his northeastern pond. Just hanging out, taking a little sip of whatever he's drinking inside of his ACU head. And again, these Omens constantly pressuring this western side. This nuke might be the most important thing that Team 2 has. 93,000 mass killed from that one nuke. And that's a sub nuke too. Not as powerful as a regular nuke. That's a very well-placed nuke. The second best place to put that would be either going after the production facilities or the mass income for Skaiva. He's sitting at 230. If you go after most of his T3 mexes, that will collapse his eco. T3 air facility and more facilities being built as we speak for Arima. But again, it's going to take a while to catch up to where Team 2's Zawirazak is. And the air grid here for Terminator is taken offline as well. So he only has one air grid to his disposal, which is, I guess, better than anybody else in the game because no one else has one at the current moment. And of course, summits being thrown at one another. Unfortunately, not having any units to protect these Neptunes, probably not the best idea. That one does get a rank of veterancy, though. Very just quick there. Another, looks like the missile is going to be launched here pretty soon. This is the range on board that Ace. And it looks like it's moving in to go after the main base here for Team 1's Skaiva. You can see it just slowly pushing in. And will it be enough? Will this one sub-nuke be the victory or the defeat here for Team 2? We'll just have to continue to watch to find out. Just slowly making its way underneath this. It's actually going to hide underneath this battleship. There goes the nuke. It is inbound. I like how the regular missile goes to the to the left, and then the nuke goes straight up. There it goes. It is going after that base. Skaiva does move, fearing he might be sniped, but his main base is the main target. And look at this pressure. We see land engagements now in the main base here that once belonged to Terminator. This is not great for Team 2. We need some gunships, need some T3 land. It's something to deal with this push. Of course, those Omens are not helping the entire time. There it goes. Kaboom! Takes out that core mass as well as the T3 land headquarters. And there goes the eco here for Skaiva. He still has a little bit of power, a little bit of energy, and a little bit of power, a little bit of energy, same thing. He's still pretty full on his mass bar, so he does have some mass to play with to rebuild his mexes. But he does suffer a little bit of a loss. Team 1 now in the lead for the first time in the game in terms of mass generation at 1,000. Team 2 at 860. And, of course, a lot of that's been due to this constant pressure from the west, from the land side of things, from Arima. Of course, we have some more battleships and battle cruisers being thrown at this western side. I feel like that should have happened a long time ago to alleviate some of that pressure. And really, that's what... I mean, if Team 2 loses, that's probably going to be the main issue, was just Team 1 came very hard, Arima specifically, on this western side, cut through, forced Terminator to control K, and then from there it's just a downward spiral. And the nuke here from Team 2's Zawirazak's been very, very good. 153,000 mass. I know that the first nuke was 93, second one was 60,000, but for two nukes, 75+ thousand mass killed. Even for a regular Stone Anger or Apocalypse Nuke Launcher, whatever the other one, I forget what the other, Hastue and Stone Anger. I forget what the Siren one is called. But anyway, that's really, really good. It's not rare, but it's less likely to get a 75,000 mass kill with a nuke in general, unless you have a YOLO, then it's pretty much guaranteed. Not every time, but pretty much every time. But the pressure here from Team 1 is mounting against Team 2. So Wirezak builds an experimental. Where is it? Oh, look, it's a monkey. He builds a monkey with some hives that will definitely assist with this land pressure. Lots of, well, again, the probably 150 so bombers will help with that as well. Okay, 120. I was close. I was close. We do see that Team 2 continuing to pressure Team 1's eastern side, but it's just not working. You can see the collapse happening in real time. I mean, I can even pause it, and it's not real time. But it's just not going well. Team 2 needs even a bigger ticket item to help. They have the nuke launcher, which is, I mean, the sub-nuke, which is great, but A, there's only one of them. B, they don't really have anything else besides that. And C, I know he tried to go for artillery, but that's out of range, and the only way to get it in range is to put it right here. That's not the best idea. So either he goes for Mavor, which is highly unlikely at this point in the game, or he wishes for a miracle. Either one or the other. And I think at this point I am going to speed it up a little bit because it's just starting to feel like Team 1 is going to win. And I do apologize. I didn't make a comment at the beginning of the game, but I have some not allergies, but my nose is a little running and that kind of thing. So if you hear my nose sniffling or whatnot, I do apologize. I think I noticed it on the OBS on my right-hand side that it did pick up my sniffling or whatever. So again, I do apologize for that. Not the most enjoyable thing to hear. And I'm not, I don't know if there may be somebody that might like that, but the chance is probably very low. So for the vast majority of everybody watching, I do apologize. And again, I do, also apologize. It took me 59 however much time to actually tell you that, but I was trying to, not necessarily avoid it, but I was trying to just ignore it. For me, at least, at a minimum. And look at these Omens. They're pushing. There's not much that Team 2 can do. And again, even if he throws most of his battleships this way, now that this eastern side has collapsed, it's just essentially you're plugging one hole and another hole has come up and it's bringing a leak, and there's really nothing he can do about it at this point. It's just a matter of staving off death. Nuke is outbound. It's going to go for the battleships, but unfortunately, if he put it right here, it'd be a better nuke, but he put it right here thinking they would actually move west. Nuke does land, kaboom, but doesn't really kill off a whole lot. It kills off 14,000 mass worth of stuff, but not as much as the, 75 plus thousand nukes. And look at these battleships. They're just being whittled away. There's really not much he can do. There is a crab now built here for his Wirezak. I don't know if that's going to help much at this point. 1 hour, almost 2 minutes on the clock here. Team 1, are you building anything spicy in the background? Probably not at this point. I think they're just going to continue with what they're doing and call it a day at this point. Mass being sent to Arima. Maybe he's producing something. Oh, he did produce an experimental. Is it a Tempest? Where is it? Is it a Tempest? But it is an experimental, and he only has limited options. Oh, it's a Colossus. Look at that. It's dancing with a monkey hanging out over there. We do see that crab going to make its way into the water. It does have some torpedoes on board, so that will assist a little bit. But look at the Omens. Look at them. There's 19 of them, and it's 24 in total for him. And I'm assuming there's actually a few of them in the naval fleet here. Yep, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 over here. 1, 2, 3. So 27 Omens here for Team 1's Arima / Skyiva again. Well, I tried everything. GG. He control Ks. The writing was on the wall. I mean, with 20-something battleships in your bay, there was only one way that was going to go, unless he had a Mavor, a nuke launcher, something that really would have kept the game going, then maybe. But at this point, yeah, there's no possible way that Team 2 is going to come back from this, which does mean, of course, Team 1 wins the game. And MVP for this game definitely goes to Arima. He did such a very good job on the naval side of things. Not only did he win his lane, but he also assisted with defense and the pushing in of the eastern lane as well, coming in to save his teammate from a couple of raiding parties. I'd love to see that kind of cooperation. We did see it on Team 2, but he did it. So I think he did it more often and better than Zach did. But again, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, share this video with anyone, everyone, especially your pets. Again, thank you so very much for watching, and I will see all of you in the next one. But before I go, there is a satellite. So Zach did build the UEF satellite. Just wanted to point that out there. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see all of you in the next one.